Hi guys, we're Medel and welcome back to our channel. Today we are so excited about this episode because it is finally about Photoshop! We're such geeks. We have been waiting to film this episode for so long.
So, Photoshop was born way back 1990s and it's the go-to software of the designers nowadays. And it's so popular that the word Photoshop is becoming a verb.
You know, people say like, oh, can you Photoshop me into this image? Or can you Photoshop me out of this image?
So the software is a pixel-based program where you can design something for web or online news or even prints from small to medium sizes.
Using Photoshop can be a little bit confusing when you open the software for the first time because it's a little overwhelming with all the tools and windows and options that are available for you. But we're here to teach you some basics and also maybe create our first poster on Photoshop. Yay!
So now let's open Photoshop and create our new canvas.
So let's go to File, New. So you can make any size you want inside Photoshop, but it is really important to remember the resolution of your project. For example, if you're doing this for print, it's really important to keep your resolution at 300 versus when you're making a design for web, anything between 72 to 150 dpi can do just fine. So for our poster, we're going to go with 180 by 180. And we're going to keep the resolution at 72 because this is for web, and we're going to say create.
Now, our canvas is ready, so the next important thing is layers. Simply put, that layers help us stack elements on top of each other and give us the freedom to edit it individually.
Okay, so now let's give a color to our background. So with our layer selected, we go and pick a color that we like. Click OK. We'll hit the paint bucket tool and just click our canvas to give it that color. Now let's add another layer on top of our background color. So I found this really cool pattern on the internet that I'm going to open up, and I'm simply going to select my move tool and drag this layer on top of my background. So as you can see, we have created a new layer on top of our background layer.
Remember, the pattern is a separate layer from the background, so you can move it anywhere you want to or change its size independently.
Next comes the Tools panel. And this panel has so many awesome tools in it. For example, it has the Move tool, which is your best friend. It has the Crop tool, it has the Paintbrush tool. But for now, we're going to go to our Shape layer and create a rectangle on top of our pattern. Let's double click the rectangle and change the color to this cool yellow. Remember, our rectangle is the third layer on top of our pattern.
Now let's add text to our poster. We want something cool, but first let's select the text button and we want something like Art is Awesome. If you have been following our previous episodes, you know what comes next. Choosing fonts. Choose something that goes with your style.
So my text is left aligned and I'm going to move it to the bottom of the page. I am going to reduce its size a little bit so that it fits better in my frame. Also, I'm going to hit the text button and I'm going to increase my leading a little bit so that the spacing is even. I'm also going to give my font a nice white. So at this point, we can either leave the poster this way or create even more contrast in our design. So I'm only going to select the top line of our text and change the text into something more fun.
Once you're happy with your design, we can now export. Always remember to save it as PSD first so you can edit again later. You can also save it as JPEG, but make sure your quality is in maximum settings so you can get a good result. So tada! We now created the first poster in Photoshop.
So we know that today's episode was maybe a little fast-paced for people who are completely new to Photoshop, but we didn't want this to be a tutorial. We wanted it to be more focused on design, where we're teaching you more about composition and how, like, the design principles of things. We will be going into more details and also sharing some quick tips and hacks on how to get your way around Photoshop.
So guys, hit the subscribe button and see you in the next video.
Bye!